We move to the council reports now. Councilwoman AG, District 7.
Good evening. The Planning and Zoning Commission has approved for drive time business to come into District 7. Drive time will be replacing Finest Motor, which is located at 5578 Warrensville Center Road. Drive time is the leading vehicle retailer in the United States. Drive time will be adding an additional 15 jobs to its business, which will help bring in much needed revenue to the city. Updates on SouthGate. Foreman Mills will be moving in SouthGate. Southgate is working with Burlington. Five Below is taking a look at the area, and Chipotle Restaurant is very interested in coming to Southgate. District 7 Block Watch meeting will be held on Thursday, March the 19th at the Maple Heights Library at 6:30. Please plan to attend. If anyone is interested in Zumba classes, they will be offered at First Place Event and Multipurpose Center, which is located 16536 Broadway Avenue. The classes are offered every Wednesday at 7 o'clock, and the cost is $7. If you need any additional information, please contact the center at 216-233-9166. Please, let's continue to support the senior center because the seniors deserve to have a place where they can come daily. Also, the shut-in deserve to have meals delivered to them, and the residents should be able to go to the food pantry when needed. With it being Black History Month, I would like to share a little known Black history fact. Did you know on February the 4th, 1952, Jackie Robinson became the first African-American executive of a major TV station after accepting the position of Director of Communication for NBC? In the report.
Thank you. Councilman Jackson, Councilman Adams, District 1.
Had a report, wire hanging from the electrical lines on Cork Hill. I called Tonya. She called Dennis. They went down and checked it out. It was a telephone line. She called AT&T. It will be repaired tomorrow. Thank her. Thank you. Quick service. Attorney Dunham, school crossing guard, called me about the snow on the street in front of the old Firestone building, Early's garage. I went down and talked to him. He cleaned out a path. It's pretty deep because when the snow plows come around the corner over there and down Dunham, they spray it onto the sidewalk. There's nowhere for him to move the piles of snow at the end of his driveways, which is at every driveway. But he made a path through the snow. So I thank him for that. He came right out and did it. Had 3-4 calls about the garbage. And I called Tonya, she told me about it, passed it on. So thank you on that. I'd like to thank everybody that donated to the senior center. And I see that most all of us are on the same page. We have to keep it open for the needy of residents and also for the seniors. Especially if it gets cold, you always have a place to come and get a hot meal. It's very important. And the transportation is very, very important to get them to their doctor appointments. And there's a lot of sickness in the city. So we should think about our health. So I thank everybody for their donations, and we should look into the audience and the residents out there if we should go ahead with putting the senior center levy back on the ballot, which I agree to. Also, Post 309 will have a fish fry Friday, 4 to 7, takeouts available. Thank you. Have a safe ride going home. Good
Thank
evening.
you. Councilwoman Tony Jones, District 2.
Good evening, everybody. Just want to let you know that the demolition contract that we're doing with the county is going to be on schedule, and I once again want to thank the assistance that I received from the fire department, police department, and service department. They helped tremendously in identifying some of the homes that need to come down. The county land bank is going to take down probably about 11 houses within the next month, and that's on their own through tax foreclosure, just so you know. A prime example that we just passed tonight by accepting 2 parcels of land on Schreiber, there was a property on one of them. Property came down, the owner didn't want the property anymore and donated it to the county land bank, who then in turn asked us if we wanted it in our land bank. Councilman Adams went to the adjacent property owners to ask them if they would like to have the land, and we have a taker for that. So they're going to do a lot consolidation, and she's going to have some nice property. So keep in mind, when the city is going to be, actually the county is going to be doing the demolitions, there will be a lot of lots available. And it would be beneficial to the city as well as to the streets if people would like to obtain those lots as a side yard. So if anybody's interested in that, or if anybody has a property that they want us to take a look at, if it's a candidate for demolition, we could let you know. And Madam Chair, I just wondered, since the fire chief just came in, if he could give us a report on what happened tonight. End of my report.
Thank you. Councilman Separati, District 3.
Thank you, Madam Chair. If council is serious about possibly saving the senior center, the quickest turnaround for any kind of tax income is the income tax. We've discussed this in length with the mayor and everybody. That's the only way you can generate any kind of money quickly enough to possibly help save the center, through the reduction of the tax credit or an increase in the tax itself. But keep in mind, please, that even though we are going to be working on a budget and we transferred money from the trash fund to the general fund, there still is a deficit. It might be all square for 2015, but that doesn't justify 2016 as being a balanced budget. So council is going to have to think long-term on the proposals for residents, because they've already turned us down 3 times. So it's going to have to be thought about and acted upon quickly, and hopefully we'll have some good news and residents will support it. But that's the way it's going to have to be, because we patched a hole for 2015, but it'll be back there in 2016, and it's not going to go away, because if nobody approves any levies, you're going to have more cuts. End of report. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Jackson, District 4.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I guess a couple of quick things. One, to the owner of Rebar, I think it is. R-Bar. That's what I wrote down too. R-Bar. I guess I think I kind of feel where you're coming from. I don't think anybody wants to go through what it takes to start a business, probably in debt. As a past business owner, I know where you're coming from, and to have something like that happen on your property, I know it has to be devastating to you. And even though I've never been there to visit your establishment, I know that's the way you feel. And just maybe just one little quick thing that, and I don't even know if you're doing this now, but you might want to consider, that would maybe help deter some future things as a dress code, is that has a tendency sometimes to help keep away some of the non-desirables, let's say. I'd like to agree with Councilwoman Agee on her support for our senior center, and most of us have donated money. That don't mean that we have to stop with what we've donated so far. Linda, free popcorn with those movies?
Yes, sir.
And what time those are? 9:30?
9:45.
Okay. And on that, all those movies are all good, But being Black History Month, there's a lot of good things on television too, on a lot of documentaries, or you can just go online and Google it, and you can bring us some information on a lot of variety of people to just kind of see their background and the place that they played in our civil rights struggle. And to Mr. Arnold, yes, we've been working on this for a couple of months now, and have a lot of good ideas, and I do agree that it would be nice to do one with the community also. If we can get the first one off the ground with the schools, no telling what's going to happen. And it's not just a local effort either. I mean, you know, this is kind of a regional thing, but it just takes a little time to get all the pieces in place, but we are diligently seeking to try to do that. And with that, I guess the last thing, everybody be careful shoveling snow. Get tired, take a break. You get cold, take a break. With that, I end my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Brownlee, District 5.
Move my hand.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is Black History Month, as we all are aware, and on February 17th at 4:30 in the afternoon, we'll be having a Rosa Parks presentation for school-age children at the library. That'll be February 17th at 4:30 at the library. We have the youth librarian helped find a good book resource that we'll be sharing with the kids, as well as Warrensville Road Community Baptist Church will be joining us also. And they have a group that promotes Black history, and they'll be giving a short presentation about the Tuskegee Airmen. So it'll be an interesting event for youth as well as adults. There will be resources available. The libraries works hard to find resources for boys, for girls, and for any parents who might come as well. So please join us on February 17th at 4:30. There was some talk about special levies. Mr. Arnold came to the front and mentioned the trash money. And he is absolutely correct in his assessment of that transfer. It is an illegal transfer, and whenever the auditors do their financial analysis here toward the end of this month, they will notate that. That money will eventually have to go back to the special fund. Now you understand the ORC, the Ohio Revised Code, establishes many of the laws that we have to abide by as a municipality. And one of them concerns special revenue sources, special levies, and what you do with them. First, you have to establish a special fund. You can't just put it in the general fund. If you have a special levy, it has to go into a special fund set aside for that restricted purpose. And it also outlines that the funds in that restricted fund cannot be used for anything else than what they were purposed for. They cannot be transferred to the general fund except on very special circumstances, which require the approval, oftentimes, of the Court of Common Pleas. This was not done for this transfer, and therefore it's illegal in many levels, and that money will have to come back. So that hole has not been plugged. And the city has been trying to plug holes for maybe 3 years now, 4 years possibly. And as you can see, the ship is still getting lower and lower in the water. Whenever the auditors declared us to be in fiscal watch, they gave us, I think it was 4 months, to put together a plan. Mr. Arnold asked about that plan that we submitted to them back in August. That plan was not accepted. So what's going to happen now is they will do an update analysis here in February, look at the books again, and decide whether to place us into fiscal emergency, which it looks like that's where we'll be going, along with East Cleveland, just like Garfield Heights did previously. That's likely where we'll be in a few months. So concerning the special levies, Mr. Arnold was right. That money cannot be used for something else. It doesn't matter how much we need it or want it. It's restricted. And therefore, that money, when it comes back, should result in either the city lowering the amount it charges for trash collection, or giving some type of refund, which I doubt would happen. It would probably be lowering the amount charged for trash collection. So what one of the previous councilmen said is that we need to take a longer view on our problems. Not just look at this year, what are we going to do in 2015, have we plugged the hole for 2015. We have to be looking at 16, we have to be looking at 17, because to continue to address the problems just one fiscal year at a time is going to keep us in this spiral where we're going to have less money and less money and less money, because we keep trying to find special ways, little silver bullets to solve a problem. And as you can see, 3 years of trying to do that hasn't solved our problem, nor will it. And the senior center is a prime example of the victims of this type of planning. It's now come down to the point where there isn't money, simply isn't money to fund the senior center anymore. And any tax levies that would be passed would come too late. Therefore, to try and to talk about or to include tax levies in a plan to save the senior center is completely useless. That money will come months, years too late to salvage the program as it stands right now. So we need to be looking at longer term things. Lastly, on that note, I don't know if you've noticed as you look at the news, especially financial news, business news, you see that there's been a lot of CEOs that have been fired and replaced because of poor performance. One of the latest is McDonald's. This is from an article in the Wall Street Journal. It says, it was pretty interesting, it was well written. The McDonald's Egg McMuffin is a venerable American tradition, a glimmer of hope in that low-fat, gluten-free, everything-will-kill-you diet. It's a reminder that something so simple as an egg, cheese, and Canadian bacon on an English muffin served with a crispy hash brown can be reliably delicious. And when you walk in McDonald's, you know what to expect. At least, that's what I thought. And then the author goes on to describe how a couple days ago, he had gone into McDonald's, as he had hundreds of times before, and a very strange incident occurred while he was in there. And McDonald's is in this new kick, whatever, we don't need to go into the details. But what he went in for was not what he received. And part of the impetus for that was that McDonald's is trying to be what it's not. It's trying to be more like maybe Chipotle or Five Guys, create an atmosphere that doesn't fit McDonald's. When we go to McDonald's, we know what to expect. We're there for a reason. Well, they haven't been doing that, and McDonald's has been slowly dying, struggling. And so he sums it up with this. He says, in short, McDonald's looks like it's trying too hard to look trendy, more like Chipotle, a hip chain that claims the mantle of food with integrity, whatever that means, and can't serve a 900-calorie burrito without sermons on food sourcing. Well, here's some free advice from Mr. Eastbrook, the new CEO of McDonald's. He says this: From a McDonald's customer of long and happy experience, this approach won't work. You can't give McDonald's a makeover. You can't make McDonald's what it's not. Maple Heights has an identity crisis, I think. We need to find out who we are, and what we'll be successful at. Not how are we gonna, pay the bills for 2015. But where do we want to end up when it's all said and done? Because if we start with a plan like that, then everything else will begin falling into place. We need to decide who we are and who we can excel at being as a city. Then we can start approaching all the problems that we have here. With that, I'll end my report. May God bless you, and may God bless Maple Heights.
Councilman Trojanski, District 6.
Thank you, Madam President. Thank you, everyone, for coming out to tonight's meeting. With reference to the homicide that happened at the Ardmore, I received numerous constituents' calls on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. I'm a big proponent of businesses, and I want to work with the businesses, but my concern is always, first and foremost, the safety of the constituents and the quality of life. So I'm willing to do whatever it takes with the bar to work with the police department but I also hold you accountable for whatever happens on your property. I'm more than welcome to talk with you after the council meeting, but I received a lot of calls. A lot of not customers, but constituents were very upset. A lot of them are throwing up the issue of joining up the precinct. That's been entertained in the past, but I know there's other businesses, convenience stores in the district that would be indirectly negatively affected. So I think the best way, if that was to move forward, would to have a community forum to get the input of the constituents and then put that to the voters if we made it that far, and allow them as a precinct to make that decision, because it's their community. I think they have a right to have a voice in their community, and that's the most democratic process. But that's something what I will look forward to in the near future. The next thing I want to report is that I'm currently working in partnership with the Calgary County Library and University Hospitals to have a citywide health and wellness fair in August. I'm working out the logistics. I have a meeting this coming Friday with UH, so I'll list details with that. I think it's very important that we're promoting health and wellness in the city, and it's very important that we're encouraging residents to be proactive rather than reactive about their health. So I'll have details in the future at the next council meeting about that. And with that, I end my report.
Thank you. Chief, if you'd like to chime in, would you have a report tonight? Or?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Just a brief one about 6:30 this evening. The canopy covering the pump islands at the gas station next to City Hall on Reed Road and Maple Heights Boulevard collapsed, probably due to the weight of the snow. A couple very fortunate people. One woman had just parked her car and went inside to pay for fuel, and 2 cars had just pulled away. So it was one minor injury, but those people were very lucky. So we'll investigate that further tomorrow. The pumps are closed, but he's still open for business with the store there. There's no hazard there right now. And just in brief, calls today for the fire department are 457. Just wanted to remind residents that, with the inclement weather, please check on seniors or disabled persons that you might be neighbors with. People that may normally be able to ambulate but may be unable due to the volume of snow or weather conditions. Maybe give a hand and clear a path to the door for them. Additionally, try to keep your walkways clear if you're able to, and at least a path to your entrance door and steps. Certainly helps us out in an emergency. If you have a hydrant in front of your home, do not stack snow on or around it, and try to keep it clear as well if possible. And if you're planning on traveling, have a blanket in your car and a full tank of fuel. Keep your cell phone charger with you just in case you become stranded. Conditions around here can change rapidly, and these items could be a lifesaver. So with that, I end my report.
Thank you.
Madam President, can I make one comment?
We have just one more report, and that is mine. We do have a couple of snow plowing lists for you in the back if you know somebody who needs some assistance. That snow has been heavy. It looks a little lighter today, but it has been heavy, and it might be more might be a better idea. You must be a snow plower. Might be a better idea to have someone come in and do a little bit of service. We also have some additional city quality of life booklets, just in case you might want to review what the ideas are for being a good resident and a healthy resident. The Post 309 has continued many years of the 4 chaplain service, which I was never aware of until I came onto this council. It's Post 309, and the vets do this every year at various churches in our area, and it's about 4 chaplains who gave up their lives, totally courageous, without any ego, without any idea of saving themselves, and gave their life jackets to the sailors who were fleeing a sinking ship in the seas that were very cold and treacherous. And of course, they went down with the ship. But it's always kind of a reminder of people who are courageous and who are without ego. And thank you to all of our servicemen, especially people like the chaplains. Also, I wanted to remind you that the Harvest for Hunger is beginning at the end of February. And although many of us are not aware of, maybe we don't have a problem with food or needing food, but the food pantry served in general for the area in the Cleveland area suburbs 17 million meals this past year, and that's a lot of food. So when you go through your supermarket and they ask you if you'd like to donate $1, you might want to think about it maybe once or twice. Certainly is an easy way to do it. That Harvest for Hunger begins at the end of February and goes through the beginning of April. And again, it takes care of the boys and girls in schools who don't have food, as well as families, and our own as well, because our food pantry is served by that Harvest for Hunger as well. Also, I noted today in the paper that although we do have assistance for seniors and who make appointments and come in and have their taxes done, there's also tax assistance for folks who are under 60 years of age over at Tri-C, which I'm not sure, is that something that's new? Maybe, but it's on Saturdays, and I'm going to put it on our website with the times and the days, and perhaps some of our young people can get some assistance. It's all free. It would be a great service. And at that, I'm going to end my report, and there's no further business to be presented before this committee or this body, and we will adjourn the meeting at 7:55.